Hey fellas, I have returned with yet another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart. But before we get into that, I just wanted to thank you guys for the support on my last video about storytelling. If you haven't checked that out, please go check that out. That took me a while to make, and it was very important to me. So it was cool to see some people like sharing it and stuff. It really made my day. Also, I just wanted to mention that today's video isn't going to be as broad of a topic as something like storytelling like in the last video, but I hope that doesn't turn anyone off by it being about some movie that you might not have watched. But anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and let's just go ahead and jump into what is quite possibly the best movie of all time.
Okay, let's start with Launchpad McQuack.
That's not the actual title of this.
Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Whew. Okay, first time I watched this movie and I saw that part, I laughed so hard, like uncontrollably. That joke didn't even deserve that much laughter, but I couldn't stop. Anyways, I can't promise that there won't be any spoilers in this video. However, this movie is 10 years old, so I'm going to be probably speaking freely about the plot and everything. So, I'd like to start this out by saying that this is obviously entirely subjective. At the end of the day, if you just don't like this movie or think another one is better, I can't refute the fact. That is your opinion. With that said, I'd like to say how I'll define a good movie for this video. I measure a movie's quality by how well it accomplishes the things it set out to do. My claim for this video is that the movie Scott Pilgrim excels at literally everything it set out to accomplish. What are those things, you may be asking yourself? Well, let's start it off with the atmosphere, world building. This is one of the things that sets this movie apart, and it's one of the things that the director Edgar Wright is very good at setting. Right from the opening scene, this movie sucks you into this world. Every little detail in this movie reflects that video game-like atmosphere. From the ending of the movie being like this arcade game, do you wish to continue screen, which reflects how rewatchable this movie is, to the other little details, like Scott's gay roommate Wallace having to yell "Bye!" before Scott fights like in a video game like Mortal Kombat, or the iconic Edgar Wright transitions that you can blink and you'll miss. They all blend together to create the atmosphere of this movie, and it's why when all of a sudden two dragons and a yeti made of sound start fighting, you're like, yep, that totally fits in with the atmosphere of this movie. Another pillar, I guess I'll call them, that this movie excels at is the writing. Now, this is a little bit touchy because this movie is an adaptation of the original books by Brian Lee O'Malley. So a lot of the dialogue is similar or pretty much the exact same. However, Brian wasn't done writing the books when the movie came out, so it's hard to say who took inspiration from who and who like copied each other. It's hard to tell. However, none of this really matters anyway because the writing is imperfect regardless. Not only that, but the delivery in all the lines is pitch perfect. Now, I could honestly go on and on. The story is beautiful and leaves you with the warm and fuzzy feeling. Casting is great. The soundtrack is amazing. But the one thing that pushes this movie across that finish line is Scott Pilgrim himself.
Yeah, it goes like this.
Can't wait to hear it when it's finished.
Finished?
I mentioned this in my video about Spider-Man and why I love him and about imperfect characters, and it totally, completely applies here too. Scott Pilgrim is nowhere near perfect. Scott Pilgrim is a jerk. He dates a 17-year-old as a rebound and then proceeds to cheat on her with some pink-haired rollerblading chick he saw in his dreams. He's egotistical, socially awkward, and dishonest. This movie has the balls to make our protagonist not just imperfect, it makes him the villain. And we still root for him because we see ourselves in him. I love that. We're all assholes. And we can see ourselves in Scott Pilgrim. What makes this movie perfect is how imperfect our protagonist is. So with this movie not only nailing our main character, but every detail in between, if we choose to define the best movie ever as a movie that accomplishes everything it set out to do perfectly, an argument can certainly be made for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World to be that movie. Whew. Jeez, alright, this might have been a little bit shorter video, but that's all I really have to say today, fellas. I feel like I got my message across, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope I showcased my love for this movie in a meaningful way, because I do love this movie. Like I said in the beginning, this isn't as broad or relatable of a topic like storytelling in general, but I wanted to share my love for this movie with you guys, because it's such a great story. With that said, I want to thank all of these people who commented and left so much support on my last video. It really was heartwarming to see people take the time to comment. I hope everything was cohesive. Let me know if I could have changed something in the script or whatever. But with that all said, that's all I gotta say. So make sure to leave a like if you do, subscribe if you're new, guys, and as always, make someone smile today. Peace. Watch Scott Pilgrim, please. It's